that didn't work. What the heck was that? Remove intro video. Am I live? I'm live. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to Cross Examinations Live. I'm your host, Mike S. Miller, not a pastor, he's rabbi, thought leader, theologian, educator, blah, blah, blah. Just a guy on the internet talking about stuff in Jesus in the Bible and stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that. And now I'm here talking to you and saying hello to Justin the Rhino and Amy Lester. Only people rolling in here just yet. This coffee's all right. Starbucks brand. I don't like to support Starbucks, but when it's at the outlet and it's the cheapest thing there. So I was sick all week last week, and I went to the con anyways. I was patient zero for con crud this year, but I mean, I felt all right. It was just this coughing and the is that milk in your iced coffee? I don't remember what's in it. I just know it's not oat milk, because that was the two things they had. They had oat milk, which I'm never gonna drink. That's just rapeseed oil. Do you know that? Oat milk is rapeseed oil. Oat milk is a big old freaking lie. Don't anybody ever drink oat milk. It's not good for you. And then the other one was just dairy, I guess. So I got the dairy one. I don't even know it. I don't even think it's flavored. Just cream. I don't know. There's nothing like unique about it. But anyway, yes, I went to Heroes Con last week. Boy, the flight was... Okay, the flight there was miserable. The flight back was a little better. It was just, gosh darn, that chair. I should have brought my pad or something. It was terrible. Like, my butt hurt the entire flight back. No, there. Sorry, I'm still tired. I'm not jet lagged because I'm coming back. And also I was staying up until sunrise. So a gaggle of us were at an Airbnb. And we even brought somebody, a couple guys. Should I say who was there? Should I say who was at the Airbnb? I don't know. I'm not sure they wanted people to know who all was there. But met some new folks, some former, possibly enemies. I don't know. I'll just tell you, it was Mr. Biggins. For those of you who know who Mr. Biggins is. Mr. Biggins was there. And I didn't think, I mean, I've never had any interaction with him, so I wouldn't have any indication that we were on. I know we were on the opposite sides of the whole Comicsgate thing, because he was a big Comicsgate cheerleader. But I never had any negative direct interactions. I don't know if I had any interactions with him at all. No, I must have at some point, but I saw him at the con and I was like, hey, and he like looked at me like weird, and I'm like, he's like, you know who I am? I'm like, Mr. Biggins. I'm like, how'd you know that? I just guessed. Because I'd never seen him before. How did I know it was him? I knew he was there, I think is the thing. And I think I had heard him described as a bigger dude before. So, and he was there with Mrs. Biggins. And, you know, you've never seen Mrs. Biggins' face either, but you've seen her body. And so it's like, I just put the two and two together, I guess, in my brain. And it was just automatically. His name was on his table. No. He was just there as a looky-loo. He's the one that put together the Tampa Bay Con, which caused all the kerfuffle that ended up causing a whole hell of a lot of people to leave Comicsgate or to disassociate. And so, yeah, it was at first it seemed like he thought we would be at odds. It seemed like that. Was that like he was like, I'm like, what is there? I'm like, is there later on that day? I was like, hey, what was with that reaction? Why did you seem like you were worried about me talking to you or something? He's like, I just didn't know if there was any animosity there. I'm like, not on my part. I have no. Honestly, I don't. I hate to. I hate to say this in any way that might make it. There's this parasocial thing, even if you're not a fan of somebody, where you think maybe you've interacted with them a number of times on X or in the chat or something, where we're supposed to just remember our interactions with you because you remember your reaction with us. And I'm like, you're a name on a computer among like hundreds of interactions every day of names on computers. The ones that have stuck it around for a long time, like, Amy and Melissa, King Bob. Like Justin the Rhino, I couldn't pick you out of a hat. No offense. But it takes a while, and maybe it might take a little longer for me because I'm an idiot. To sink in that kind of this person is that person. This person, I remember their conversation. You know what I mean? This parasocial relationship thing is DJ. I know DJ. I got you, DJ. DJ, I think we've met in person, haven't we? Pretty sure. Sorry, I'm telling you, this is just the reality. And so it's like really fun when we meet people in person. Oh wait, yeah. Did you go to the Bitcoin thing? You were at the Bitcoin thing, right? Weren't you? I'm the coolest introvert you'll ever meet. Yeah, and so even if like at some point I knew who Mr. Biggins was, we might have had interactions like before I knew who Mr. Biggins was, before he was enough information to locked into a memory bank. It like takes a certain amount of interactions to lock into the memory bank, right? So that's just that. Maybe that was the key. I have no idea. I'm gonna. Most of this stuff's gonna escape my brain anyway. So Chuck Keyworth. See, I know the Chuck Keyworth. I mean, I don't know Chuck Keyworth, but I apologize if you haven't made enough dent in my memory banks to lock you into long-term memory. You're all in RAM. Right now, you're on the screen, you're in RAM. Random access memory. You've got to find a way to make it into my ROM. Read-only memory, my long-term storage. New CG, aka Marvel 2.0. Well, that's kind of a non sequitur. What? Yeah, so the con. You know what's really funny is I got sick, and then it turned out I had the wrong flight information. I went to get my flight the day before my flight, and I'm like, all right, where's my update? Where's my check-in now? Where's my all this stuff? And it's not there. And I'm, what in the heck is going on here? So I do a search for, Charlotte. My flight was booked for May. The wrong freaking month. and I don't check my email enough to like notice. Sorry. And me, I'm like, oh, this is a sign I shouldn't go. But then I was talking to my buddy who's actually the one getting me to go, and he's like, hold on, I gotta. And he's like, when I'm gonna paraphrase this, and I'm not gonna get it right. Like when I face challenges like this, I think they're from the devil, not from God. He thinks God blesses you into movement, right? Or into, like, if there's something he wants you to do, he will bless you into that position. Something like that. And it's a very optimistic way to look at things, instead of like, oh no, there's an obstacle in my way, I should lay down and die. Which is kind of where my mind was at. Oh no, I'm sick. Oh, and I don't have a flight. I better not go. He's like, you better. Like, no. So I shouldn't be streaming. I am coughing and hacking and wheezing. Um so yeah. I've a day before the flight. You know what's funny? I booked this flight 2 months ago and change. Um, the cold makes that outlook easier. Yeah, two and a half months ago, the flight was booked. It was only like maybe $60 more getting it booked the day before. Like, legitimately, normally isn't it like flights the day before a thing are like stupid expensive? But it was only like another $70 or something, 60, $70. GBY, all goodbye. Are you saying goodbye? I don't know what GBY means unless you're saying goodbye, but you just got here. What's that without lies? The Lord made a way. Yeah, the Lord made a way. And so I go there. It's the best time. Um, like, we stayed up till sunrise, the guys in the house, and our couple extra guests, smoking cigars on the patio and talking about theology, about creationism. It was like an ecumenical council, because we had an Orthodox, we had a Catholic, or grew up Catholic trying to figure it out guy. We had someone, I believe he's agnostic, um, to a young Earth creationist, an old Earth creationist, and then I don't know what the other guy was, but it was like, we were just hashing out theological creation, Christological, Mariology, just all kinds of stuff. It was such a good. That's a good. I'm like, man, this is. I didn't want to go to bed, but it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I gotta go to bed. If you could just sit around talking this kind of stuff until freaking dawn, man, that's a good time. That is a good time. And then what's rad about it, it's like, I like disagreeing with people, um, just because it's more fun. And the fact that you're sitting around, and most of the guys there are brothers in Christ, but they disagree on stuff, but you're not disagreeing like I mean, I can hang out with an atheist or I don't know about a Satanist, but I can hang out with people all different ideological spectrums and whatnot. But that we're all brothers in Christ, but disagreeing on stuff. There's a level of fun to that. That's like this show, right? Like bring on Larry and Joe, and that there you got your Catholic, you got your Orthodox Greek. Yeah, he's Greek Orthodox, yeah. And then grab a Russian Orthodox, and then someone from the Ethiopian, right? It'd be, oh gosh, that would be so much fun. That'd be so much fun. Disagreeing is almost as bad as handshakes. Okay, so there was a little drama at the convention, dude. I was sitting right next to my man Dan Fraga, who I love Dan. Dan is a great guy. I don't want to get into that whole thing because I don't want to make this all about Comicsgate. But I was laughing all con, and my wife's like, I thought you weren't gonna do this Comicsgate stuff anymore. I'm like, I know, but it was so much fun. I let loose my inner troll this weekend. And oh boy, was it glorious. It was so amazing. I was, if I wasn't dying from the cold, I was dying from the laughter. It was just I would just take a little thing, stick it on a little hook, and I'd throw it onto Twitter. And these guys, oh my gosh. I miss trolling. I do. I'm honest with you. I miss trolling. And maybe it's bad to say it's something I'm good at, but gosh dang, I'm good at it. New CG is irrelevant, but they coped and seethed so hard over a handshake. Yeah. Well, that was the thing, right? So I'll just mention what it was an epic troll. I was there. This was me all weekend. I was just, oh, it's the best time. It was the best time I've had at a convention ever, probably ever. So it was a blessing. Oh geez. Everything's a gift. Just find a way to troll for Christ. That's true. Everything is a gift, right? Remember in the Crusades, right? All of these princes and dukes and armies were fighting each other, Christian against Christian in Europe for hundreds of years. And then the Pope, the Pope's finally like, you have learned to fight and murder each other. Use those skills and fight for Christ and go kill them. I wish I was there for the laughing at X-Men. Oh gosh. Oh man. When we were still in the lobby at the hotel. We were gonna go to this bar called the Thirsty Beaver, which this bar is crazy. It's cool. It's this tiny little bar, like I don't know, it's maybe 20 by 20, and then a back room that's like 20 by 15 or something like that in this tiny little brick building. And I was asking about or someone told me the history of this bar, and it was that they were going to tear this bar down to build this, and this is like a super old bar, I guess. And they were going to tear it down to make this apartment complex, but the community rose up and fought against them tearing it down, and so they built the apartment complex around it, and it's like up. You know, up where you have this little house and you have these giant buildings. They literally build this super tall apartment complex around the bar. It's like, hey Tanner. Yeah, so we were at the bar when we're like, oh my gosh. I think I don't know. I think Phil was the one. Phil Diaz was there. That guy's a giant, by the way. And he's like, Ethan Spurging. He's like, so Ethan goes on and he's just copy or because I blab and blocked, so somehow or another he's copy pasting all of my tweets like one after the other and just spurging out and oh gosh, I was dying. I swear like that fit of laughter all night long. All night long. It was too much. It was it was glorious. And then I get home. By the way, 6 hours of sleep all weekend. 2 nights in a row. I get home. I left my iPad at the airport. I was like, no. I'm like digging everywhere. I'm like, no. Freaked out a little bit. I went to the Lost and Found, the TSA Lost and Found. I just, filled out the form and sent it in. And then I went to bed and I'm like, well, that's going to suck if they don't find it. But, after a moment of panic, I just accept it. And I'm like, that's going to suck if that's what happens. But next morning I woke up, they said they found it. So yeah, I try to look, there's certain things you just can't change something. If you can't control a thing, stressing out about it isn't really helpful. At least it was 6 hours and not 2. I know, right? Yeah. Actually, I got up okay after the first 3 hours sleep. After the second 3 hours sleep, Narwhal wakes me up, and I'm just like, I was like dead. I was dead, and I'm like, so that's the way I kind of made it to the con. But yeah, oh man, it was so great to meet. I got to meet Kevin. I wish I got to hang out with him and his family, but it's like I was there with a group at the Airbnb, and so and by the time I don't know, I wish I could have. I wish you could work it out so you could just spend time with everybody that you want to spend time with. That's how I reacted when I lost half my vision. Stressing out about it doesn't help. Yeah, you can't not like do the freak out, right? It's not like you're like, oh, I'm losing my vision. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna worry about it. No, you're gonna have the onset panic. You're like, what am I gonna do? And then at some point, you just gotta be like, well, hell. Right? You have to get to the, well, this is just gonna suck. Right? Like if you're I don't know, it's, you know what it is? If it doesn't kill you, it's just a hassle. Right? And I mean, unless somebody dies, it's just a hassle. If you go blind, like Ryder here, losing half his vision, it's just a hassle, and it makes life more of a hassle. If you lose your house, it's a big hassle, but it's just a hassle. It's just something that makes life more difficult to deal with, which is literally what a hassle is, right? So unless you're I'm trolling for the Lord. Oh, what movie is that? What is it? I kill for the Lord, something like that. Oh no, there's a movie like I think it's Dead Alive. There's a priest that says something like "I kill for the Lord" or something like that. My friend always freaks out about any unexpected expense. I tell him it's pointless. Yeah, right. It's made it harder to draw, but I learned to work with it. Well, yeah, I can understand that. That is a hell of a hassle. But well, what if you lose your hand? You're still alive. It's just makes life harder. And you know what? Life's not supposed to be easy. And maybe some people's lives are too easy. And maybe when some people's lives are made too easy, like maybe they've had a hard life, but then suddenly, for some reason, it becomes really easy. Maybe they forget to appreciate. I don't know. There's all kinds of layers. One thing, I don't know. I know I'm not doing a lot of Bible stuff right now because I'm just kind of this, like I said, this is the aftermath. Embrace the suck. Embrace the suck, right? It's not that you want the suck, but the suck can build your character. That's for one thing, right? The suck can give you a phenomenal testimony for other people going through the suck. The suck is definitely, the growing pains of life. Tanner says, my buddy lost his arm to a meat grinder. That is a considerable amount of suck. We had to reteach him how to fish again. Right? Because I've tried it because of my elbow. I've tried casting with my left hand. It's like like it's like the timing, right, of release, and it's hard. It's hard. You have to re like I said when I was trying to do things with my left hand because I wanted to rest my right hand. Your left hand or your right hand doesn't know what your left hand is doing. Your left hand, let's just say your non-dominant hand. Your non-dominant hand is a subconscious helper to your dominant hand, right? He said it didn't hurt like you think it would, but he felt it. He felt it. Oh, yeah, ghost arm. You know why? Because it's still part of his soul. Our souls still have arms. It's just the robots we hold our souls in lose the limb, right? But your right hand, like, do the experiment. Go brush your hair with your non-dominant hand. Because, like, when I brush my hair like this. And it's like, I don't even think about my left hand. My left hand's just following my right hand the way I'm doing it. Now go try to brush your hair with you get instantly confused. Right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm like everywhere right now. I'm like everywhere. My brain is every place. But I had an interesting moment in talking to Dan. Because as you guys all know, Dan's been a friend of mine for 30-something years. And Dan, I don't want to say Dan abandoned me for Comicsgate. That's stupid. But I even stopped. I should own that. I should apologize to him because once he went on a Comicsgate, I was like, fine, you didn't do whatever you want. Because I was trying to bring him into Comicsgate when I was in Comicsgate. He'd been on my show, I think once or twice. But then when he went on, I was like, oh, okay, he's making this decision. That's fine. I don't hate anybody for being part of Comicsgate. Those guys are still whatever. But when I watched him one time on Ethan's, and he was going like, man, what happened to Mike? I love that guy, but this, blah, blah, because he was falling for the worm. And I told him about that, and he was just like, I'm so sorry, dude. But it was that when he said that, I was like, okay, and I just kind of stopped reaching out to him. Right. But I was at some point when we were just hanging out all weekend, I just made the point. I was like, look, man, there's a reason, and you guys have heard me say it 100 times. The reason the word hero exists is because most men are cowards, right? And I wasn't pointing a finger at Dan. I wasn't. But it's not to say that, and then I just recently said it, it's like, some people are born heroes. Some people become heroes when there's a line in the sand that they cannot cross. And, they become heroes because they'll stand up for what's right. And then there's some people who will cower forever. And I found something out. I can't make it public, but I just found something out about a bunch of guys that made me lose any modicum of respect I had left for them for what they did to Dan. And then I'm trying to regulate this in my mind. It's like, all your friends don't have to be heroes. You can be friends with somebody and realize that I don't want that guy in a foxhole with me. Right? Because like I said, most people are cowards. So you can't live your life being like, I'm only going to be friends with heroes. Right? That's just an impossibility. I don't know what it is. Some people just they have lines in the sand they will never ever cross. Some people are just like that. Maybe they're born that. I'm not saying I'm a hero. Maybe I'm just saying I'm freaking stubborn. And if I see something wrong, I can't keep my mouth shut. I can't go along with it. I don't care if it costs me my freaking living. I'm just weird like that, right? I've lost jobs because I won't not talk about Jesus, right? That's just, and I was like that before I was a Christian. I was just a freaking stubborn son of a gun. So that, I guess that can be a negative personality trait as well. But I have never and I will never be a go along to get along guy. And I sure as hell am never going to be a throw my friend under the bus to get along guy. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I could be friends with somebody like that because most people are like that. Most people aren't going to risk their career, their fortune, their whatever, their comfort for me. They'll do it for their families. Who wouldn't do it for their family? But that's what they're doing. Never mind. Some people fall and get back up. Were you able to mend fences with it? Yeah, the fence was never. Yeah, I mean, 1,000%, 1,000%. I mean, I talked to him a couple of years at San Diego Comic-Con. There's no animosity. There was just that, uncomfortability. No, I heard a story about a man on the Titanic who gave his life jacket to a non-believer, and I cried because I realized I'm not that brave, and it's still irritating. Yeah, so the guy on the Titanic, I think he was a priest or pastor or something, an evangelical, and he had gotten his wife and he had gotten his family into the lifeboat, and he was floating in the frozen water with his life jacket, and he was floating up next, holding this other guy up in the water, and he asked him, he goes, "Do you know Jesus?" And then the guy said no, so he took off his life jacket and he gave it to him, and then he sank into the abyss, and then that guy became a believer and tells that story. I don't mean to laugh. The guy died, but he was ready. He's like, well, I got eternal life. I don't want you to go to hell. You go ahead and take this. I don't take care of my family, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's a great story. That's the story. Yep. Oh, you guys are talking about Phantom Limbs in the chat. I might be a coward. I'm afraid of what I might find out. Yeah, I guess, I guess we're all afraid to be put in situations. You know what? Maybe I'm just not a coward when it comes to like my comfort, but I don't know. I've never been, okay. Well, actually I have. I had a gun shoved in my face by a cop once, and he said, "Get down on my knees." I got right down on my knees. Now that's just me not being stupid. I don't know. But yeah, that's it's great. I don't ask that anyone is tested in this sort of a way. But if that Titanic story of the preacher is fictional. Oh, really? How do you know that? Fear of the unknown is one of the strongest fears. Sometimes the thought of eternity overwhelms me, but eternity in heaven is better than eternity in hell. Well, we don't spend eternity in heaven. We're resurrected. So it's just, I don't know. I'm not going to say it's just like this, but it is a physical reality. Oh, you just looked it up? On what? Melissa's never had to knock on wood. I remember, I'm trying to remember another story where it was like yeah, I don't know. It's hard to like go and research like every single story of faith, The thought of an eternal existence is a long time. Right. Is it eternal if is it eternal or is it infinite? I wonder if there's a difference, because one of them has to rely on there being linear time, but eternity does not rely on linear time. Eternity is outside of time. But when we think of the word eternal, we think of it in linear thought, because all of our language is built on linear understandings. Whatever forever means. Yes, forever. I just finished Revelation again, and I'm still not sure if we end up in heaven or new earth. That book confuses me. We end up in the new earth. New heavens and the new earth. I don't know if we can travel via the other dimensions like angels do. That'd be awesome, right? Maybe we can go to other planets and whatnot. maybe we can make planets and populate them with our own. No, I'm just kidding. Mike doesn't get the reference. What reference, King Bob? Well, I've never had a knock on one. I don't get it. Like Battlestar Galactica. I hope we get to travel the universe. Yeah, right. I mean, if you have an eternity, why not? Right? Eternal is always being. Forever starts at a point. There you go. Forever. There is a new Earth, but the last chapter sounds like we're somewhere not quite like Earth. Maybe I'll reread it. Well, yeah, so the current Earth we are populating right now will burn up, as I think possibly the whole universe will. We get a total system reboot. I don't know if that will consist of a new big bang or just I don't know. Nobody knows. That's kind of the trick. I don't know why it bothers me, because we'll be at peace, no death, no anxiety or fear. That's awesome. I know. I don't know why it bothers you either. That sounds great to me. No mortgages. No. Gosh, it'd be cool. It'd be like, I don't know. There's a book called 90 Minutes in Heaven. It's a near-death experience story about a woman who was dead for 90 minutes, and she just describes her whole vision or visitation or whatever you want to call it, and it's all very, I don't know, it's just very interesting and cool. How will it be at peace? God's creations tend to rebel. Right. Well, you have a set number of people who will rebel, and then you know who will rebel and who won't, and through the judgment. Right? When you're indwelt with the Spirit, and when you've accepted that God is your God, rather than rejecting that God is your God, that's kind of the good delineation. Yeah, and there won't really be any need to rebel in heaven. You could ask about the angels, and that's kind of my point about the angels. Like, you look, everybody, all the angels, they had their choice. Their choice doesn't have, because their choice is made with absolute understanding of who God is, face to face with God, knowing that He is your creator, and still you reject Him. That's why they have no redemption, right? You and me, our faith, I don't want to call it a blind faith, but it is not an all-knowing faith, right? That's why it's faith. The angels didn't have to have faith. They just had to either choose to obey God or choose to disobey God. And the sifting process was their choice. Yeah, ever consider this life is filtering out the rebels? Look, it'd be interesting if people who rejected God just like sort of setting up with their own building blocks, right? It's like, look, here's heaven is God with all the good and all the glory and all the creation, all the design and all the everything that makes it perfect. Same thing with the new heavens and new earth. And then hell, it's like, all right, here I'm gonna give you some just basic building blocks. Here's your molecules, right? Here's your molecules, guys. You said you could create life and create order and create design do it all on your own. I'm going to give you everything you think you need to build your own paradise. Go for it. Let's see how that works out. How do you think that'd work out, Corpse Grinder? Just say that was the fair trade. You rejected God and all of his design and purpose, but God still says, all right, I'm still going to give you the basic building blocks of matter and energy. Build your eternity. What do you think about that deal? And would you want to go to the other deal? Is that the deal you would take? It's like, all right, I don't need to live in God's design with all your beautiful sunrises and snow and trees and whatever. We each get our own universe without a Lord. Sounds good. Right, but you have to build everything out of just molecules. Just matter and energy. You don't get any instructions. You don't get nothing. You just get matter and energy. You think you could build a universe? Do you think you could build a universe? No, this is a freaking, oh my gosh, how do you know? This isn't reality. I'm just saying, what if? This is a what if scenario. If that was your scenario, right? Because what you want is an eternity with all the blessings God created, just without God. Why? Why would you want anything God created if you don't believe in God? Why would you want an eternity? Why would you want an eternity? Are you understanding? Blessings. Yes. Like the created universe, the intricate ordered design of everything from the microscopic to the macroscopic. You want a universe where all that stuff is already built for you, right? But God built all that. So you get to start over. You get to start over, you get all the matter and energy you want, but you have to put it all together. Okay, can you just play along with the what if? Is that would you want that? Like, say God says, it says in the Bible, that's the deal. Hell is you get all the matter and energy you want, but you have to design and build your own universe. And you could take all of the atheists and you could well, you can't work together, really, can you? Because you'd probably be alone. But even if you could, whatever the situation. Yeah, dude, it's called a thought experiment. Do you not know how to have a conversation without making it argumentative? Hell is getting your own universe to create, but your creation doesn't believe in you. That's Mormonism, DJ. You just described the Mormon theology. Even if you could build a universe, to what ends without God to share it with? I don't know. I just think everything in the universe is designed. Saying it all came together by random, meaningless chance is just so foolish. If I created a universe, I wouldn't demand the life there to worship me. Okay, well, first of all, how would you create a universe, Corpse Grinder? Because it all happened accidentally, randomly, and without meaning, guidance, or purpose. So obviously you, as an intelligent mind, should be able to figure out how to create a finely tuned, highly tuned, highly intricately designed from the macro to the micro universe, right? Is there a problem there? Well, why would that be a problem? for an intelligent mind when random meaninglessness could manage it all by itself. You don't know what guided or influenced the Big Bang. Right, but the atheist must conclude by caveat that there was no guidance and there was no influence. Otherwise, you're claiming it was God. Right? There could be fields that make it so and not random. Fields. Are you just making something up now? Yeah, atheists do love to go. They do. The argument from motion proves God exists, among many other arguments. The argument from motion. Make the argument from motion. But yeah, this is a cope right here. Well, there could be a field that makes it so randomness has order and design. We call it the design field. It's this all-powerful, all-knowing field that takes random molecules and turns them into intricately designed mechanisms. We don't call it God, though. We call it a field. Because we don't want to say anything might be a God. Things in motion are put in motion by something else. Nothing can move itself since it would have to be prior to itself. Interesting. Accurate. Mike, I have a question about the philosophy of heroes. Why do people who read comics or Western books always assume the hero must fit a particular moral code? What an interesting question. Why do people who read comics or Western books always assume the hero must fit a particular moral code? I think because your point is the Western, right? So the Western world, the Western ideology is built on the scaffolding of Judeo-Christian ethics and morals. So we do have a particular set of morals and ethics that guide what we think should be upheld by, quote unquote, the best of us, right? And so a hero would be someone who falls into the best of us category. I think it's probably as simple as that, right? Does that make sense? Oh, wait. 2, nothing can move itself. 3, an infinite regress of movers is impossible. No first mover equals no motion. Therefore, there must be a first unmoved mover, which we call God. Makes total sense. Oh, is the argument from motion idea that something had to move in order for everything to be derived from Newton's laws of motion? The Greek concept of a hero is only that they overcome an obstacle, not killing enemies. Well, why is it killing enemies? I don't know what killing enemies is. A hero doesn't have to be someone killing enemies. A hero, I mean, in the literary phraseology, is just the protagonist, right? The positive mover of the story, the one who moves the story forward in a positive sense, or moving towards the goal, whatever that may be. The antagonist is the one who is stopping the protagonist from, and that, I mean, in our colloquially, we call that the hero. But not everybody in every story has a hero. Not every story has a hero in the sense of, like, you know, I don't know. In comic books, we tend to put the word hero on the superhero pedestal. Not killing enemies like Batman. Well, Batman's a hero, though, so yeah. Turn the Bible into a comic, then the atheists would read it and worship it. All hail Lucy. That's Russian ape also. It's not. That's a smart atheist. Jesus is our true hero, the best, most heroic of us, like the part of us that like most like him. True. And also, there's a book called Save the Cat that sort of it dissects the basic story structure that you find in almost every story, whether it's a novel, play, TV, movie. All of these stories have this sort of basic story structure, and this would kind of include the it would include the gospel, which kind of makes you wonder if the gospel story is the progenitor of basic story structure, and maybe that comes back to why does everyone in the West have the same idea of a hero? Does he have to go through the personal sacrifice, and then everyone thinks the dark hour where you think the enemy has won, and then suddenly you get the resurrection and suddenly the third act, the hero saves the day. That kind of a thing. This basic story structure that exists in the gospel itself. Maybe that was the heroic tale seed that formed the ideals of storytelling in modern Western culture. I don't know. I just thought about that right now. It's interesting. Sometimes I just think about the stuff when it's on the screen. I don't like pre-think anything. I don't have notes. Maybe I should. I just find that interesting how it seems to fit nicely with Newton's laws of motion. Newton was definitely someone that believed in God. Oh yeah, Newton was a pastor. Newton has a bunch of sermons and stuff. I wonder if you can find him online. You probably can find him online. But yeah, Newton was a pastor. But why is Batman bad if he kills an enemy that otherwise would kill thousands of people, which means Batman is responsible? That's Batman's own personal moral code. Right? So if you determine your own personal moral code and then you go against it, hypocrisy is bad. It doesn't make him ontologically bad. It just makes him bad according to his own standards. Corpse Grinder says, no, I don't know what you're talking about. What is this crap background? Part of thing that makes it go. This is my Japanese schoolroom. You don't like my Japanese schoolroom? All right, what happened to the art? This isn't an art show. This is a Bible show, part of the thing that makes it go. Welcome to the show, by the way. I don't think I would be worthy of him, King Bob, but I love him. Amen. Amen. All right. But the deaths of thousands are at his feet by not killing one enemy. You can't blame someone for the actions of someone else. Right? Like, Batman did his job. Batman's essentially a police officer. A vigilante police officer. A cop's job is not to go around killing people who might kill other people in the future. Their job is to arrest people, put them in jail, and if they're a threat to society, put them in jail for life, right? But that's the legal systems. So Batman is playing within the legal boundary of more or less a police officer. So he won't kill anyone. He captures them. He brings them to the police, and it is the justice system's job to keep them in Arkham Asylum forever. Now, realistically speaking, they should just have the death penalty in Gotham, and the Joker would have been dead after his first crime spree. All these people in Arkham, I think that's kind of the workaround, right? It's like, oh, no, they're insane. You can't kill an insane person because they're insane. You just have to keep them in the insane asylum. I mean, do you really? Batman is not proactive SWAT. That's an interesting way to put it, huh? But he's not a Terminator, right? He's not in there. Yeah, that's his rule. If he was SWAT, yeah, he could just he sees somebody with a gun to somebody else's head, take him out. The Punisher arguably saves more people than Batman. I think that's very very good argument, but that's not the Punisher's. The Punisher's rules are very different, like from Daredevil's rules, right? Batman and Daredevil have the same sort of rule set. Punisher has a slightly different one. Was Batman a Christian? I believe in the lore he's a Catholic. But I can't remember. It probably depends on who's writing him. You're for the death penalty. If it can be absolutely proven that somebody's guilty, I would kind of leave it up to. I would leave it as an option, right? A cop can't put people in prison. The justice system does, but the system clearly fails. True. Of course, I'm against abortion, Corpse Grinder. See, here's the difference. Baby never did nothing to nobody. Abortion is the death penalty for an innocent person. That's why I said if you could absolutely prove somebody is guilty of a crime worthy of the death penalty, then I think it should be an option. But I do not think it should be an option for an innocent child. And if you don't understand the difference between that, then you should maybe try taking a long, deep think about it. And that, of course, brings a bigger question. Who's right, Batman or Punisher? Ethics are hard. I think they just need a better prosecutor and change some laws in Gotham and just start executing some of these people. I know he doesn't see the hypocrisy and doesn't want to follow Jesus. Oh, really? Okay. I'll give you an extra couple minutes here. What's the hypocrisy? And how am I not following Jesus? Where are you going? Oh, okay. No. I know. It's my mom's birthday today. Happy birthday, Mom. Did Jesus say turn the other cheek or eye for an eye? Jesus said turn the other cheek. Do you know what that means? If someone slaps you on the left cheek, what are they doing? The left cheek. That's an open hand strike. Oh, no. The right cheek. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, that's a backhand. Modern parlance, that's a bitch slap. He says, offer them your left cheek also. That is open hand. That is strike me like an equal. Strike me like a man. It's not, this is so out of freaking context of like, oh yes, you're never supposed to do anything. Yeah, the same guy that said, I bring him not to bring peace but a sword. The same guy that said, take your shovels and plowshares and shape them into weapons. You have to understand the context of his teachings, dude. And I hate to tell you this, but you know that guy in Revelation that comes and kills like 200 million man army? That's Jesus, buddy. You know that guy, the angel of death in the so-called angel of death? You know the guy that killed the entire planet? You know all those things you complain about the God in the Old Testament doing? That's Jesus, dude. You think he's going to balk at the freaking death penalty when somebody's guilty of like murder and rape and all this stuff? You know the guy who wrote the Old Testament and all of the penalties, the death penalties in the Old Testament? You know who that guy was? That was Jesus, corpse grinder. Oh, it's very loving. No, you're just not understanding of anything, dude. You want to just pick, oh, look, but this one thing in this, out of this context. You are proud that you worship a maniac. It's not a maniac. He is the author of life and death. It's not maniac. God, every death, every life that God claims is his to take. Okay, but that's not your argument. Whether or not there's argument or not, you're trying to make an argument of ethics through what is being taught in the Bible and what Jesus said, and that I don't want to follow Jesus. This isn't about changing the argument into, but there's no claim that this is the real, blah, blah, blah. Or there's no evidence. Oh, now it's about free will. Dude, you can't stay on topic to save your life. As soon as I freaking knock your argument down, you change the argument. You're like the king of moving goalposts. I think if it's something in someone's heart and they want to express their love through the art of comic because it's such a dear medium to them, that could be really sweet for them. I don't even know what you're talking about. Your silly book can't keep its story straight. You can't keep an argument on track, dude. I would not be one to point fingers about keeping stories straight. You're so funny. But you are very, very typical for an atheist. But at the same time, I really do enjoy you coming on here and throwing these things in. In an atheistic world, I still can't distinguish between abortion and genocide morally. There's no difference. Literally, there's no morality. Objectively speaking, there's no rules in a truly atheistic world. All right, that's it, guys. Thank you for being here. I hope you had fun. I'll try to be back tomorrow at noon for another exciting episode of Cross Examinations. Bye now.